Hi, I just decided that I was going to do something a little goofy and go live while I'm packing to present to the Honors Lyceum. Hilariously, I'm using a bigger suitcase than I actually am for my upcoming travel because I'm just cool like that. The games simply didn't fit in the first bag that I packed them in. I think that probably I don't think anybody's gonna be here. I did not post like a go live. I don't go live on YouTube as a general rule. It's just this is the best way to get a decent quality recording because I am just that janky with this channel. So hi, we are going to use a wide body, international sized suitcase. This is my carry on of choice. Um, Fun fact, no one needs to check. I don't need to check a bag most of the time. So this is my long serving baby. Um, and I bring it to class when I need to bring a whole bunch of games. When my duffel bag doesn't work. Duffel bag's not going to work this time. But I've already pulled, as you can kind of see from my shelves, you can start to see the gaps. I've already pulled a fair amount of games. And so it's just a question of seeing if they're going to fit into this freaking suitcase. But I wanted to talk a little bit. I actually did like film myself while I was pulling, but that's silly. So this is a group of students who don't know what TTRPGs are. And my job is to get them excited both about the idea that the humanities are something we're studying, but also that role playing games are awesome and are more than Dungeons and Dragons. Um, so uh, we've got education folks. So we've got Jacqueline Lewis's Rolling with the Youth that goes into the suitcase. Just arrived is this the field agent journaling game that has a whole bunch of cool notebooks. Basically, when in doubt, I pull things that are small and easy to carry and beautiful, but some things are also shamelessly pandering. Someone always picks Good Society. I have my own feelings about it as a game and as my preferred Jane Austen game, but you know, we give the peoples what they want. And sometimes we give them beautiful objects like Bluebeard's Bride, a game that I don't have students play in class, but have taught at the graduate level without playing. So many content warnings, content warning games are good for introductions, but not necessarily things that you want to like inflict on students who are kind of forced to be there. And of course, I don't know, I just the meta of die I just adore, and so and it's another lovely fun object. So that goes into the suitcase, and I go, oh no, it's tall. Um, so and then so we've got big guy, and then we've got little guy. This little guy right here from Chain Assembly. Chain Assembly has a whole bunch of these role playing games that you can literally fit into your pocket. Um, and this one is 18 plus for a GM and 3 to 4 players who are playing Andy Warhol, Nico, John Cage, and Albert DeSalvo in a very like 1964 New York nerdness. Um, None of those people would consider themselves nerds. I like objects, so Night Forest, super handy. A game that you play walking around the woods, holding a lit candle, and answering questions on prompts. It's a game about memory. But what we really need to do is unpack the bag that I have off camera. Um, I swore I'd never put this game into a suitcase again because I've been stopped by TSA 3 times with this pizza box. But Slug Blaster is amazing, um, and sentimentally, Yazeba's "My Good Girl" by My Good Girl is something we might even be able to play in the space of class. We fake played it for when CNBC came to do some interview stuff. So those fit and they take up a lot of space in this suitcase. So we got to fill it up with some other things that don't take up quite so much room. So we've got a lot of books up in this joint, but one more big box. And I'm seeing, actually, this is a really interesting question. Will Fall of Magic fit into an international size spinner? And it just barely does. If I was a cool YouTuber, I would be able to wedge it in, but and I would have like an overhead camera. But I am not that cool. I'm just a professor playing around in her office. So we'll put in the things that we definitely can in little places, like for the Queen. As you can see, I have a whole shelf of where the little guys fit. So it's easy to pull them all off in one go. So you've got stuff like Desperation, also will fit in the little guy slot over here. Sign, I teach dialect, but Sign, which is a game about replicating the feeling and inspired by the development of Nicaraguan Sign Language, I think is very interesting to students who are like of a kind of literary or like a linguistic kind of bent. Love to bring Cassie Mothwin's sticker game up in the joint. Again, we love a tactile game. Brindlewood Bay is adorable. The concept, if they ask about it, it leads to good questions. Gotta bring Banana Chan, and there's a whole bunch of Banana Chan up there next to the No Haters Loud. But we're bringing Suburban Consumption of the Monstrous because one, it's LARP, two, it's dinner party LARP, and three, also beautiful object. Rock that vellum, folks. So we'll start to stack some of these books in here. Doesn't look like much, but starts a discussion. This is Laboratory of Death, the first Juventia that was circulated by KMS Games. There's another one coming, but I don't have that yet. So there you go. Elliot Davis, Rom-Com Drama Bomb, kind of fits in the same slot as Sticker Game in sense of it's kind of cool that it's in its little DVD holder. Another beautiful object, 1,000-Year-Old Vampire. Although these days I teach with 500-Year-Old Vampire, which is over there. It is entirely possible that students will ask about my tattoo, and so why not bring the game by my tattoo artist, Chris Pickens, Time, Space, Place. His game is Danse Macabre. Is there anything else left in the bag? Oh, yes, there is. Haha, of course. One last box. Alice is missing. As you can see, I have multiple copies because it takes that many to run in a class. I have multiple copies over here of The Quiet Year, or as my niece and nephew call it, the Skulls game. So that fits nicely into this little stack. Another important example for discussion, this is a game, one of several games that I just bought with my own money from Bull Press, but if you have friends and loved ones who are incarcerated, you can have them sent for free. This is a series of conversational games that are designed to be compliant with contraband rules. So no dice, no maps necessary. So a super really interesting addition. Love 10 candles. Somewhere back there are the Cantrip Candles 10 candle sets, which I will not be bringing, although I'm tempted. And yeah, so that's real talk. It's not all actually going to fit, I think, in the suitcase of Doom, but we're going to get close enough that I think we can call it. Oh yeah, no, this is going to work. So yeah, so this is a 15-minute class, which is explaining who the hell I am and what I do and how I research what I research. And you might be wondering how I got here in terms of that. And so we start off by having these games kind of scattered around the classroom so that students have something that they can kind of touch and interact with and maybe get excited about, so that the Q&A can be about my stuff if they want it to be, but it can also just be their curiosity about these games, which I love and are beautiful and exciting and just neat. You know, there's something really, you know, some people get really excited about a role playing game through the concept, through the hook, through the genre it's emulating. But what I find increasingly with our students now, especially in this time when they've been like surfeited on the digital, is that the analog and the idea of sitting down at a table with your friends is kind of amazing. Um, and so yeah, so it's been a real joy. I mean, I started out as a book historian, so getting people to think about the physical properties of books and how they're made and how they're circulated. So this is just kind of like the next logical extension, right? Or so I tell my colleagues, um, including those of you who end up watching all of this, because this channel started because it was a way to keep my students up on what was going on, but real talk, it's mostly teachers. Um, Hello to the three people who are watching me box up games from my teaching collection. If you have questions, you are feel free to say hi in the chat, and I am more than happy because it looks like we have packed this little sucker just about as full as it's gonna get. I could probably put a little bit more on, but there's no need. Um, will it zip? Will it blend? Yes, yes it will. With room to spare for Bluebeard's bride to slide right on in on the top, which is very lovely. So the only thing that did not fit is Fall of Magic, which I will literally carry in like this, because I mean, if that's not a conversation starter, I don't know what is. Um, this will also be a test of the new wheels of my suitcase. I don't want to think about how heavy this is, but I'm sure it's quite heavy. But I'm a power lifter, and apparently I'm a power lifter so that I can move games around on a regular basis. Um, so yeah, so we'll move the camera down. So yeah, so the teaching collection is been uh, ripped apart for possible exciting games. And this is all rhetorically in order to recruit students to the two classes that I'm teaching this fall. One is the 18th century novel class, which is going to be a version of my playing Austen class. If you're curious about that, I will point you to this channel has an entire vlog series of how I ran that graduate class 2 years ago in 2022. And I ran a playing the 18th century class more recently, also including Austen this past fall. If you are new to this channel, that is literally what I do. I uh, mostly use this channel to post formal presentations that my colleague Emily Kugler and I have given about at the intersection of games and everything else that we study. And also, I keep folks up to date on the structure of the classes that I teach that include games, which at this point is almost all of them. So we have an upper division 18th century novel class that's going to move back and forth between 18th century novels, including and using the introduction. Rebecca Romney just wrote her new book, Jane Austen's Bookshelf, I think is going to be in the mix on that. I think we're going to structure the class mostly around Austen's Emma, a classic novel about the games that people play. Works really well, and then stud in some other stuff along the way. Lots of Austen games in this library, including the most recent acquisition. I felt so bad. The first Jen Martin gave this to me. This is the most recent test version of her desperation hack, Aldsworth 1811, which is a GM-less game set in the Regency, inspired by Austen. And of course, I bring it to New York, really excited to show it to Abria and I lost it. So Jen very kindly sent me another copy, even though there's only a few copies in existence, because again, this is just the test copy. But I'm really, really excited to play around with it. Regency Cthulhu, also a really great Austin class. But I'm nattering, as I often do. My other class that I'm really trying to convince students to sign up for, and these are freshmen, bright and shiny freshmen who are the perfect target audience for my Introduction to Literary Studies class, English 2020, which I'm teaching for the very first time. This is a new course number for me, and I'm so excited. And I'm very grateful to my colleague, Sunny Stalter Pace, who's an old hat at this particular course. It's designed as a kind of how do we study this stuff? How do we think as literary critics? Which is a thing that I'm thinking about a lot these days as it pertains to games criticism. So I'm taking advantage of a couple of different things. One is fingers crossed, and it's hard to believe in the future right now, but should all things go well, we'll have Quentin Smith on campus sometime this fall to talk about his career across game journalism. We'll be taking a look at the kind of development of the video essay form as well as other critical forms. We'll be thinking about different, not just games, but other kind of forms of literature and how we closely attend to them, the different ways I do research in and around games and game like fiction and whatnot. And so I'm really excited for what comes this fall. It's not quite what I've been doing in the most recent semesters in terms of like a completely dedicated class in our technology literacy and culture number, but I'm excited at the opportunity to think about in these course numbers that are very explicitly literature, as opposed to rhetoric or communication or public and professional writing. What is this going to look like? So I am shamelessly recruiting. I will probably keep this suitcase packed up for our recruiting day in the English department to show this stuff off to students. My only concern then is I think that there are snacks during our next recruiting event, uh, and that makes me a little nervous with um, games. But that's games, man. If someone doesn't spill something on them or get chip dust on them or whatnot, are they really living? Write in your books. Show the books that, like, show evidence that your books have been used. And if you really hardcore use them, take a look at the Strong Museum of Play. Their archives of plain accounts and transcripts and notes and all these sorts of things are really beautiful. So this has been your, oh, what is an honors lyceum? Oh, hi, hello. Um, I will not close off. I will answer this question. So, the Honors Lyceum is an introductory course that the Auburn University Honors College has for its new students to show them basically kind of how the university works, how research works, and what research looks like in different disciplines. Most students in our honors college are coming from the STEM field, science, technology, engineering, and math. And so I am the designated humanities person to kind of show a little bit of how humanities research works. So I have a little like PowerPoint deck that I go through that talks about my training and the kinds of and what my research looks like in practice and all those sort of things. Have I heard of bannerless games? Yes. One of the things that I did not pull this time, but could pull if you look at these magazine holders, they're holding a lot of zine games. And those are just the printed out ones that are like from Plus One Experience and things like that, and stuff I've collected at cons and stuff that people have sent me. But I also have um, on my hard drive a whole bunch of like, you know, PDF zines and things like that, things that have not yet or may never reach print for any number of reasons, like one pagers and things like that. Students, one of the things that students really love when I'm actually teaching these classes and having students adopt games for playing outside of class, because we kind of do some playing inside of class and some out. Um, the Journaling games are huge. I have had to buy so many journaling games for two reasons. One, students just eat them up so much. They love them and they chew through them whole really fast. Um, and I expect them to do that because students either adopt a game that they have to run for people, and because scheduling is the great bugbear, they only have to do that once. They have to do 12 hours of it, but they only have to like play one game that way. They just have to play it in either like a long weekend or once a month or something like that in the semester. For students who really don't want group work, or who have like really like sharp pinches on their time, they're allowed to play solo journaling games and other like and games in that nature. And then I ask that they do a couple of those because most journaling games don't take as much time as setting up and preparing and running or even facilitating if it's a GM-less game, kind of games. But yeah, so students really want solo games and they really want hard copy games. So the number of times that I had, hey, Dr. Friedman, do you have the physical copy of this game? Which is really interesting because I buy most games myself. My policy is that I'm more than happy to take a kind of desk copy of a game, and I've been very grateful to Darrington Press and Chaosium and um, uh, I mean Wizards of the Coast also sends me stuff. I don't teach D&D very much or at all, except for like a day on D&D in a class on TTRPGs. And when we're doing that, we're not teaching how to play D&D. We're teaching like the educational materials that are created for D&D and D and stuff like that. But yeah, and oh I got this is all the wizard stuff. But yeah, but most game companies or most game designers are like really small businesses or even solo things. So when I can buy them using my own pennies, I do so to support the creators. And I mean, who knows what the state of the United States tax situation will be, but to date, it has counted as a business expense and an educational expense that I write off on my taxes. Um, so yeah, so that's this is a little bit of how the sausage is made. I'm on teaching leave right now. I'll finish this off by just kind of noting um, that right now I am in the classroom for one morning only this semester to talk to students about the fall because I'm on teaching leave to write my next book, which is on actual play, uh, the performance of role playing games, right, for an audience. And that is, strange to speak, my expertise. And so, talking about how labor works, how intellectual property and authorship works, how kind of how people work, how people interact among each other and with the art form of actual play, and why we should care and why it's important. I'm really excited about that book, although I hope to be done with it soon. And then this summer, I'm going to hole up for a little while, play a lot more games, and start writing another book, which is called Home Game. Or at least that's the working title. There's a lot of books called Home Game, but this one is going to be about home games, mine and those of people that I know, including um, my D&D home game and how Matt Mercer almost got us all killed, or probably kind of did all get us all killed, to conversations I've had with Brennan Mulligan about his 14-year-old home game that ended not that long ago, as well as games that have really stuck with me. The kernel of this is about a chapter of Yazebas, of a pensive chapter that really just was a really important kind of moment in terms of me thinking about that game and thinking about the people that I played it with. In addition to a whole bunch of other games, other systems, other combinations of people that I'm really excited to kind of dive into. But first, I have a book to finish, And so I'm going to, oh, aw. Well, I miss all of my classes right now. I miss my students very much. They're the best in the whole world. Auburn students are great. They give me so much joy. When I started my job, or no, when I started before I went into grad school, my undergrad mentor said, "Your teaching will be what sustains you." And it's really true, especially in times of uncertainty for all of us. It's really just incredibly wonderful to be reminded that, and the quote unquote kids are all right, who are full adults in their own right and lovely human beings. And it's a real privilege to get to think alongside them and give them a class and give them classes that, um, when I do it right, give them freedom that sometimes the educational system doesn't really let us have to, not instrumentalize everything we do, but to find other ways of thinking about meaning beyond grades, thinking about kind of what are we actually trying to learn, in in a class, what are our goals, setting our own goals, because like hopefully like life is more than the goals that other people set for us and the metrics that other people set for us. So yeah, so nice to see former students in the chat. um, so yeah, so if there are no more questions, my students will know that I will sometimes say going once, going twice. Um, but yeah, so this has been a fun little live stream of my giant, not at all giant suitcase, um, that for the moment is being packed full of games. And this summer will be packed for other kinds of adventures, but for now, it's got all the virtual adventures one could possibly want. So yeah. So uh for those of you who catch this later and get to the end, congratulations, gold star. If you have questions, they of course will get pinged to my email and feel free to send them. I'm gonna go finish this updating this PowerPoint uh, that is way too long for the purpose. But yeah, so you'll probably maybe get some more spontaneous or maybe more planned vlogs from how the book writing is going and how other things are happening. If you are in the UK, I will be at UK Games Expo because it's Jane Austen's 250th birthday, and I'll be in the UK for some other events and things like that across the summer. So, yeah, uh, see you later. Okay, bye.